Hello everyone and welcome back MMA News Channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Crazy. Fans respond as Dricus Du Plessis breaks Sean Strickland's nose in persuading UFC 312 triumph to hold title. Dricus Du Plessis broke Sean Strickland's nose as he shielded his UFC middleweight title for the third time. The triumph checked Du Plessis' second over Strickland, who dropped the middleweight belt toward the South African last January. The two men exchanged weighty calfskin toward the start of the session, and Du Plessis opened the American up with a fierce right hand in the fourth round. Replays showed Du Plessis' punch associated straightforwardly with the nose of Strickland, breaking it in a split second. Blood spilled out of Strickland's nose in the last two rounds, and he never truly recuperated from the overwhelming blow. On the way to his loss, Strickland broke Michael Bisping's record for the main strikes in UFC middleweight history, so the misfortune was marginally mellowed. The appointed authorities scored the challenge 50-45, 50-45 and 49-46, as Du Plessis guaranteed the consistent choice triumph. I let you know, folks, when I come in here I'm attempting to take this person out, Du Plessis told UFC analyst Daniel Cormier after the session. Large number of MMA fans responded to Strickland's ruthless broken nose. One took to X and said, "That nose is busted terrible. Great battle by the champion. Khabib is unbeaten in 14 expert MMA battles and has won 8 straight UFC sessions. His last triumph came against Robert Whittaker at UFC 308 last October, when he broke his kindred middleweight's jaw to pieces with a back-exposed stifle. Somewhere else at UFC 312, Zhang Weili likewise made simple work of Tatiana Suarez in the co-headliner to safeguard her strawweight title. In the meantime, Talison Teixeira took Justin Tafa unconscious in pulverizing design, and Alex Pereira stunned fans when he was spotted close by his previous adversary Israel Adesanya. The two men looked incredibly made toward the starting out of Cycle 1 as Du Plessis tried things out with an assortment of leg kicks. Strickland attempted to track down the body, while additionally using the very resulted in poke that caused such a lot of harm when the pair previously moved in the octagon last January. Dricus Du Plessis uncovers precisely very thing he told Sean Strickland in the wake of breaking his nose. Dricus Du Plessis uncovers precisely exact thing he told Sean Strickland subsequent to breaking his nose. While one more said, "That was crazy," Du Plessis is presently prone to safeguard his UFC middleweight title next against the undefeated Khamzat Chimaev. Assuming I'm deciding this round, I'm presumably giving this to Du Plessis, Cormier said at the finish of Cycle 1, and that subject to a great extent continued, as before, all through the session. Strickland's corner requested that he trust in your right hand, with greater action tossed in with the general mishmash as the two men clashed in the subsequent round. In spite of the fact that it ended up being a more serious Cycle 2 with a few exchange blows, it actually felt as though Strickland expected to up his result. Furthermore, as we entered Cycle 3, Du Plessis was most certainly driving the adjudicator scorecards. However, it stayed a nip and fold undertaking. Those cards could never have changed a lot of all through the following 5 minutes, as the hero got Strickland with a severe elbow towards the finish of the round. In any case, Strickland began to land a couple of harming strikes on his rival, which provoked the hero to toss a takedown similarly as the chime sounded. Strickland would have been confident to use his extraordinary fuel tank in the title adjusts, until Du Plessis timed him with a right hand that broke his nose into pieces. The American didn't appear to acknowledge what had occurred until he felt his nose and blood started spilling out. At this stage, having finished 8 rounds of their competition, Strickland required a marvel to recover the UFC middleweight title. That is as terrible a messed up nose as I've found in quite a while, UFC reporter John Onyx said when the acknowledgement of the harm kicked in. I couldn't say whether I've at any point seen that much blood emerging from Strickland, Cormier added. Going into the last round, Strickland said he had reset his nose, yet affirmed to his mentors that it was certainly broken. It was clear Strickland expected to take out Du Plessis to get the success. However, that never came, and the last option held his middleweight belt. Intense riddle. Joe Rogan predicts Dricus Du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev as Dana White apparently affirms title battle. Lewis Thompson. Joe Rogan has addressed whether Dricus Du Plessis can stop one key Khamzat Chimaev attribute, assuming the pair at long last square off in the octagon. Du Plessis shielded his middleweight title in a rematch with Strickland at UFC 312 on Sunday, outpointing the American to get a familiar consistent choice success. It was the second time Du Plessis had imparted the octagon to Strickland, having likewise beaten him in January last year at UFC 297 to win his belt in what was an all the more firmly challenged issue. The South African is undefeated in Dana White's advancement, and his 9-battle UFC winning run at middleweight is the longest dynamic streak in the division. Still, Knox has bulldozed his direction thought the 185-pound division, yet the following time he risks his belt his adversary will be his hardest yet. Khamzat Chimaev is undefeated in 14 expert MMA battles, as well as being undefeated in his 8 UFC sessions. UFC pundit and podcaster Rogan accepts Chimaev's wrestling is at the most significant level in the game, yet neglected to make a through-and-through choice for a battle with Du Plessis. Might Dricus at any point stop that takedown? Rogan said on JRE Battlefriend during UFC 312, "It's difficult to say since we don't have any idea what might occur with Khamzat. Khamzat simply shoots from like 15 feet away and snags your leg so speedy. You must think that his perseverance is presumably going to be greater at 185 lbs than it was at 170 in light of the cut for Khamzat. 185 is truly where he ought to have been as far as possible along. Chimaev is one of the deadliest UFC warriors. 5. Chimaev is one of the deadliest UFC fighters. Credit. Getty. He was gotten triumphs over previous UFC champions in his last 2 sessions. 5. He was gotten triumphs over previous UFC champions in his last 2 bouts. Credit. Getty. Rogan was then inquired as to whether Du Plessis has battled anybody of Chimaev's type. No, we haven't seen Dricus battle anybody of that level, Rogan answered. Be that as it may, Khamzat's the most elevated level in the game. He's Du Plessis, an intense riddle, an exceptionally extreme warrior to work out. Brendan Schaub, who is likewise a previous UFC warrior, didn't shift back and forth, as he said he would give Du Plessis the benefit over Boers. In front of Du Plessis' rematch with Strickland, UFC President White apparently affirmed that Chimaev was next for a middleweight title shot. Clearly he's in line, White said when requested by a part from the media when inquired as to whether Chimaev was formally straightaway. Du Plessis has declared that Chimaev won't draw near to his middleweight belt. No affirmation of the title battle has been made by UFC yet the pair have gone this way, and that in the fallout of UFC 312. Before the battle, Chimaev posted a simulated intelligence-created picture of him gazing at Du Plessis getting down to business with Strickland to imply that he was hanging tight for his title shot. During the battle, he said, "Greatest bulls asterisk 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 is this battle," with yawning emoticons, conceding that he was exhausted of the headliner conflict. Du Plessis answered, "I'll see you when I see you," while addressing Full Send MMA. "I really want to believe that we can get it going at Worldwide Battle Week," he added at UFC 312's post-battle question and answer session, giving a possible timetable to when the battle could occur. Worldwide Battle Week is a yearly UFC occasion that